We are going to welcome our lunch speaker, professional bodybuilder, chief marketing officer for Tiger Fitness, CEO of MTS Nutrition, owner of Machine Training Solutions, body and life coaching, and as I said, one of the most busy, productive human beings I think I've ever met. And no better time for him to speak to us than while we're shoving food in our faces. Without further ado, Mr. Marc Lobliner.
Okay. What's going on, everybody? How you doing? All right. Awesome. Awesome. How's the food? Looks good. Looks good. They put out a good spread here. Put out a good spread. Looks like socialism to me. But just kidding. Just kidding. But anyway, check it out. So when we talk about what it means to be a libertarian or what it means to be an American, first of all, we got to think about the image that came into my mind when I was first approached by the Libertarian Party. Because a lot of my views are libertarian. But like many people, I really didn't see them as a credible party. Am I the only one in here with that opinion who's come here and who's kind of come around? Okay, I'm the only one? Okay. So when I thought about the Libertarian Party, the only image that came to my mind was that naked fat dude who ran across the stage at the convention. And I'm like, yo, I can't be a part of that. I can't be a part of that. But as I talk to people, and I get around a lot, I travel a lot, people who live in cities, people who live in countryside, nobody really likes the two-party system. You get your occasional crazies. You get your Trump people who Trump can literally shit on the street and everything's fine. You get your crazy Democrat, if they're wearing a mask and goggles, they're going to put it on. But I think, I'm pulling this number out of my butt, I think about probably 90% of people just kind of want to be left alone, want to raise their families, they want to pay lower taxes, they want to have freedom. Do you think 90% is right? From what your experience? I think most people want, they want what we have. They want what we have. They want what we're talking about. But again, the Libertarian Party has this cloud over it because honestly, it was run by a bunch of idiots. And that brings me back to when I lived in Illinois. I remember it was like 2013 and they had this parade for St. Patrick's Day and the Libertarian Party came out. And they were all dressed as Confederate. They were dressed stupid. I don't even know, but I'm like, nope, don't want to be part of that. But then the Mises Caucus came up. And they got some cool people on board. They had that bald guy over there. They got Maj. I'm like, wait a second, this is actually a cool party. So they're changing the view of what libertarianism is. But then you have to look at what it means to be responsible. How can we represent the Libertarian Party? So there's not that many people in here. So the goal, I believe, next time is to have double the people, then double the people, then double the people. So we need to represent the party. So when you represent something, when you're the image of something, when you're setting forth personal responsibility, what do people see first? They listen to, well, maybe how you speak, how you present yourself, your posture, your confidence. They look at your appearance. It's just what people do. Like, I never looked at a woman and wearing a tight skirt and like, man, look at her personality. No, people look at you. And then you look at statistics and what happened to this country. Talk about personal responsibility. You look at New York during COVID. Hits, 78% of people. Why did they put me during lunch? Because this is going to really ruin your lunch. Anybody got like plain chicken and rice back? No, but 78% of people who were hospitalized at the beginning of the pandemic, what did they have in common? They're fat. We're just going to use the word, they're fat. And being fat is the #1 comorbidity in America right now, no matter what you're going to get. Okay? 1 in 6 people in America are going to die from obesity-related causes. It just is what it is. Now, I'm not knocking anybody at all. You do you, right? But What I'm saying is we need to look into how to better represent ourselves and how to be healthier, how to be more productive, and how to get more people into the party. And you've seen a lot of libertarians go this route. Maj Toure, you guys know him, right? Black Guns Matter. You know, he works with us. He's been on a personal fitness kick, right? Because as people who like guns, do we want to just shoot people right away? No, we kind of want to be able to diffuse the situation without busting a cap. We don't want to bust a cap. No cap busting here. So what does that mean? It means that we need to set an example not just for us, but for the next generation. So being a libertarian, if you go into the fitness community, if you go into any gym and you talk to someone, you have a conversation, if you look at who really avoided all the BS during COVID, it was the fitness people. Because they're in control of their own health. Because they go to the gym, because they exercise, because they're healthy, they build up their immune system. So if you look at the fitness community, I think most of them, like you rarely ever see, you'll see an occasional weirdo at the gym with a mask on. But normally, if you go to a fitness community or a fitness event, it's basically like being in this room. They are very responsible. They take control of their own outcomes. They take control of their own health. If you want to change something, you go out, you put in the work, and you do it. And that's what the Libertarian Party is all about. You reap what you sow. You want more money, you don't go beg for a handout. You get a second job, you drive Uber, you do something. So instead of sitting back waiting for Big Pharma to come and say, hey, here's how we're going to improve your immune system, obviously we do need Big Pharma for some things, right? I'm not anti-Big Pharma. They made Viagra. Man, Hugh Hefner had like 10 blondes till he was like 90. I'm sorry, man, I'm not anti-Pfizer. You come out with the little blue pill, I'm sorry, I'm a fan. But one thing we can do, that we can all do, is we can be healthier. Is we can eat a little better, except for now, because that lunch looks delicious. And I'm not saying you have to be like, look, I'm a freak. I have problems, I have mental issues, I have dysmorphia, there's a lot wrong with me. Don't be me. I'm saying get to a healthy weight. Go on a nightly walk. A lot of things can be controlled. Look into different ways to help your immune system flourish. Because as leaders, everybody here is a leader of the party. Every single person here. Because there's only like 50 of y'all. Like we're not sitting in a big conference. This isn't the Republican National Convention. Yeah. I don't know, man. The Republicans, you know they're freaky. I've heard it. Like, dude, I had an accountant once. Dude was a freak. So anyway, at the end of the day, we are representing the party. And literally the party's entire premise is about taking care of yourself, taking care of your community, starting local, and setting the example for others. So that's why I implore this party, what if we're not just the party of liberty? What if we're the party of health? What if we're the party of fitness? Because at the end of the day, you can't do anything if you're sick. You can't do anything if you can't walk up a damn flight of stairs. You need to take that into your own hands. There's nothing more personally responsible than being fit. Another thing is I'd like to think that all y'all are smarter than Republicans and Democrats. And did you know that being in shape makes you smarter? Going on a walk, have you ever seen a brain scan before and after a walk? It's profound. Like before, like when you're just sitting in your desk, like working, you're like, your brain, it's a gray. It's just nothing. After a walk, a simple walk, there's colors just firing. Your brain is firing. It increases blood flow to your brain, to your extremities, to everything. It makes you healthier, makes you better, makes you think better. It also gives you more credibility. I don't know if you guys are into science, but Generally, people who are fit are more likely to get promotions, to get jobs. And that's not because of some hidden political, fat-phobic agenda. That's just human nature. It is what it is. We can sit here and lie about it and say, oh, no, we're all beautiful flowers, and we are. We're all beautiful in our own way. But if you're looking at what happens, what humans perceive you as, a lot of it has to do with your outward appearance. So taking care of that will help make the party more credible. It just will. It'll make you feel better. It'll make you act better. It'll make you be able to think better, think clearer. So my message isn't one of divisiveness. It's not sitting here fat shaming or it's not. But after what happened in 2020, they shut down our country. They named some people essential and some non-essential. If this country was simply 20% more fit, I don't think they could have done it. I don't think they could have done it because we wouldn't have had those issues. But instead, again, 78% in New York, instead they were able to do that. So by being unfit actually led to tyranny. Yes, ma'am? Oh, yeah. Well, even DeSantis shut down Florida. State, 10th Amendment. Yeah. I mean, Kristi Noem kind of fought it a little bit. That's the only one. What I'm saying is, DeSantis could have said, F y'all, we're not shutting down. Yeah. Since Lincoln, we really didn't pay attention to the 10th Amendment anyway. So anyway, the bottom line is, what can we do above and beyond what we're doing now? And the answer still comes down to personal responsibility, comes down to local, comes down to being the best you that you can be. And that's pretty much all I had to say. I just wanted to open it up to Q&A. But my message isn't, again, I don't want this to come off due to my bluntness of speech as me shaming anybody, as me being mean. But I just want to say that we can do better as a country, as a society. And it's not even, the outward appearance thing was just facts. But it's not about that. I'm pretty ugly myself. But again, it's one of those things where we can always do better and take more responsibility for what it is that we're trying to achieve. Oh, absolutely. Let's go. It always is. Yes. Well, so what she was talking about is the shutting down of gyms, which is a profound thing that happened, in that not only did you give people no outlet to exercise in a place that Attila's Gym in New Jersey showed it wasn't even spreading the virus, but what you did is you took away a lot of mental outlet for people. People go to the gym. For me, the gym is therapy. It's the one time a day I get to go and I get to kind of let loose and work out, and it feels good. And I like seeing people. I'm not one of those train-at-home kind of guys, be left alone. No, I like training. I like being around people, right? I like seeing people work. I love the gym. I love people. I love being around people. And what they did, they not only shut that down, but by shutting down children's sports, now we have a childhood obesity and suicide epidemic. Kids are killing themselves. They're addicted to drugs. And not only do they shut down the gyms, but they're delivering alcohol to people's homes, and they're delivering fast food. So obviously, if you drove Uber, you couldn't get COVID. So you were fine. So the cure for COVID is getting the Uber app and being a driver. So none of it made sense to me. It never did. But yeah, it was the stupidest thing we could have done is make it where people have less opportunity to get in shape. In other countries, they literally wouldn't let you walk outside. You had an hour of free time a day in Australia. And they had curfews because obviously COVID really thrives when the sun goes down. I mean, it's just, if you follow the science, you will know that COVID is nocturnal. And if you only walk outside for an hour a day, it can't get you because it's at 70 minutes when COVID really, really does damage. But at the end of the day, the reason we went through what we went through, the reason the government was able to take advantage of us is one, because we let them, and two, because we were so sick that we really they were able to, because people were getting really sick. Now, I'm not saying that fit people did not die. Fit people die every day of stupid things like the flu. I almost got taken down by hand, foot, and mouth disease. Y'all ever hear about getting that as an adult? Man, that sucked. I couldn't walk for like 5 days. My kids got like a pimple. I got like my skin fell off my feet. So, I mean, things can happen. Like, shit happens. So you're going to die. I hate to break that to y'all, but everybody here is going to die. Okay? We want to mitigate that and prolong it as long as possible, and also make our quality of life as high as possible while we're on this earth. So that's the goal. But again, one way to prevent what happened is to not give them the opportunity to do it again. Well, unfortunately, that comes down, if you look at what happened during COVID a lot, people are just trying to survive. So when you try to survive, if I'm trying to keep my family and I have money coming in, I don't give a shit about any of y'all. And that's what America did. It's like, okay, I need this $1,200 from the government because I need to pay my family's bills. So that's human nature. You take care of your own first. So you can't really get mad at people, but I did think that Americans would have done better, but we didn't. Do you think it could happen again? You do? I think you see it on a micro level too. Did you ever think they could pass forth a mandate for an experimental vaccine? Yeah, they have, but never like this. Never a new technology that's experimental. So there's a lot of things that happen now, and I can't really explain other than people just want to get by. You know how many people were like, just getting I don't want to get it, but I really want to travel. I really want to go to Europe. It's like, really? Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a mess. But yeah. What the thing about closing the gyms? It expressed exactly what was going on in this country, is that they had no idea what they were doing. My question for you guys, and this is out of my curiosity, do you think it was nefarious, or they were just stupid, or a little of each? You think it was both? You think it was calculated? You think it was calculated? Oh. Yeah? Yeah. But obviously that was misinformation, the whole created in a lab thing. Have you guys like thought about like what's happened, like the misinformation thing? Like, and then you look into like the CIA. I know it's so off topic of fitness, but then you look into the CIA and like how they came up with conspiracy theorists. Has anybody in this room not been called a conspiracy theorist yet? Like, is anybody here completely free of that label? You haven't been called it yet? Yeah, that's the way to go. My man lives in like he lives out there in like past Columbia. Like he's got his little bomb shelter thing and solar power. He's like, yeah. He's got like 1 million rounds of ammunition. He's one of those guys. I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad. That's the way to go. It's interesting. Any other topics or questions? Yeah. Bettering yourself physically, I mean, it comes down to what you want. The easiest way to better yourself physically is eating less junk food and going on walks. Walks are awesome. Like, humans are bipeds. We're meant to move forward. I'm not saying go on a 20-mile jog. I'm saying just go on a walk after dinner. You know, I don't mind the step thing either. Get your Apple Watch on, get 10,000 steps a day. I'm good with that. If you want to take it further, there's a lot of resources for weight training. I would recommend, if you want, now weight training is, it's literally, it's magical. It really friggin' is if you do it right. But the problem is if you do it wrong, you could really hurt yourself. So that's why I would recommend hiring a credible trainer, and probably not one from a mainstream gym. You're gonna have to ask around about that. I might know a couple people where you live. I might have a resource here or there if you want to get a hold of me. But I would recommend everybody weight train at least 2 days a week, and then you're just active as possible the other days. Absolutely recommend that. Weight training, especially if you're aging, it keeps your bone density high. Forget muscle, right? It keeps your bone density higher. It keeps your brain operating better. For those of you at risk for type 2 diabetes, it helps control your blood sugar through something called the GLUT4 receptor. I get nerdy, but I won't. Bottom line is, if you can lift something, or if you don't like weights, they have resistance bands. Resistance bands are cheap. They're good. Are they as cool? I hate them because they don't clang. I like heavy iron shit. But, like, they're awesome. So I recommend you do resistance training too. So 2 days a week resistance training, at least 2 to 4, and be active, like move. If you go to Starbucks, number one is don't get the 700-calorie latte, just get the one that's like 100. And then get out of your car and don't go through the drive-thru. Actually walk into, I know it's crazy, walk in and actually move. Like, be more active. So, I mean, you don't have, resource-wise, I mean, there's so much good data, good resources online. I own a site called tigerfitness.com. We have hundreds of articles, but there's a lot of sites like ours. And I didn't write every single article, so there's some articles on there that I'm like, it's good, but I'd probably do a little bit different, right? Like, there's so many, there's no one way to do it, right? It just depends on your goals. Or, like, forget about what I said. What if you like pickleball? I still don't know what the fuck that is. But what if you like pickleball? What if you like, what if you just like being active? What if you like jumping on trampolines? Like, do something, just move, do something fun. And you have to enjoy it. If you hate weight training, you're not going to stick to it. Find something you love, something you enjoy, and just be active, right? And eat healthier foods. I mean, well, what's healthier foods? I mean, we can all argue that an apple's probably better than a piece of pie. Pumpkin, because it's kind of a plant. Well, and carrot cake is vegetables. That's a funny story. So when I first started competing, my mom's like a little Jewish lady, right? And so I go over and I'm like, she made meat and potatoes. I'm like, I can do that. Yep, that's cool. And this one I didn't even know how to diet back then either. And then she's like, oh, I got you something. She brought out carrot cake. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And she's like, well, it's carrots. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I can't eat carrot cake. And she was so confused at why. Well, it could be the cream cheese frosting, but yeah, there's so many different ways. Any topic? Oh, that's great. Just move. I hate jumping rope. I boxed for years, and I'm a completely anti-jump rope now. I just don't like it. That and I have big boobs, and it hits me in the chin. Yes.
I was going to say, getting back to what we were talking about earlier, you know, we got this common saying, old saying, war is the health of the state. But that's not a specific case. Fear is the health of the state.
Yeah.
Whether it's fear of, foreign governments or drugs or terrorism or getting old, not having any money, whatever. And that fear is what drives people, that 90% who have libertarian bent, when they get afraid, that goes out the window.
Yeah.
That's what you're really getting at is if you take care of your finances so that you have money to get old, if you take care of your body, you have less to fear. If you get enough people doing that, they're like, I don't need government.
Yeah, so what he was talking about is fear is how the government operates, and absolutely is. So the more you can control in your life, and health is one thing. There's, again, like, something can get us at any time, right? Like we get bit by a spider and our toe falls off, right? We can't control that. We could just lower the risk of dying as much as possible or of getting sick as much as possible. But if you look at how the government operates, yeah, they're in a constant state of invoking fear into us. So the more we can control our finances, stay out of debt. I know a lot of people like leveraging. I couldn't, dude, maybe I'm just a big little sissy, but like I couldn't do the whole leveraging debt thing. I like just not owing anything and be like, okay, I'm gonna keep this shit all to myself. Whereas, you know, rather than like worry about a banking crisis happen or anything. So I mean, as libertarians, I think we're all kind of on the same boat. Is as much independence as we could possibly have, the better. And again, but the one thing we can control, most people other than the less than 0.1% with something like PCOS, is we can control a lot of our weight and our health. It's there. Again, people be like, well, what about, like, that's a very small percentage of the population, right? Like we can't even factor in PCOS or other conditions like that. Very few people have thyroid issues that are going to prevent them from losing weight or from being a healthy weight or from being not obese. So again, as libertarians, that's our whole messaging, is we want to take that personal responsibility so we don't need to rely on the government and we can be self-sufficient, self-sustaining. I think that's what we were kind of getting at, yeah. Again, it's just a mindset, right? Like financial, from fiscal to metabolic to health, all of that is within your control. Yeah. Yeah. Well, 5 minutes, cool. That's awesome. There's a sign. So the thing is, yeah, the fitness community are, as someone who's in it every day of my life, they most certainly are majority libertarians. They just don't know it yet. The messaging is there. We just need to get it out with the right people. Fitness community, I don't care what your race, religion, your background, all those, a majority of fitness-minded individuals think just like y'all. They think just like you guys. And those are the people, yeah, we missed huge opportunities in 2016, in 2020, and that's what caused me to basically till recently say goodbye to the Libertarian Party. Because Gary Johnson. And then Jorgensen. Probably nice people, but I mean, they were kind of stupid in public. And I'm not saying I'm great. I'm not running for president. But again, it starts local, and that's what's beautiful about this caucus, is that they're focusing on local winnable elections. To just come out like you're just gonna be another Green Party. If you go like, hey, we're gonna win the presidency. All right, well, why don't we focus on city council? Why don't we focus on what we can control locally? And that's where the messaging is right. But what can we do locally? I mean, just explain to people what the party is about. But again, as representatives of the party, the best way to get the messaging of personal responsibility in front of people is to live it yourself. I think I have 3.5 minutes in. Yes? Where do you live? Well, we got Legacy of Carbon right up the road. They could train with us. Kids are weird. Kids, keep them active, keep them playing sports. Kids are going to eat bullshit food, let them. But, you know, put some healthy food in there, make sure they get enough protein. But again, kids are something where, you know, for weight training, you have to have a professional show them because there's a lot of things they can mess up, just like adults. In fact, I'd say it's probably harder to mess up with kids. They're so pliable and resilient, but you still don't want, you want to teach them the right movement patterns to start. So if you owned a farm, would you not let your kids farm at a certain age? Which do you think is more dangerous? An uncontrolled bale of hay or a barbell? The hay. So like that was proven incorrect years ago. In fact, it's beneficial for kids to load. Every time a kid, think about it, they fall off a swing. Did you know every time you run, you're putting like 10 times your body weight? That'd be the equivalent of let's say a 50-pound kid. Can your 50-pound kid squat 500 pounds? Yeah, repeatedly? Yeah, so weights are fine. But again, you have to have someone instruct them on how to do it correctly and safely.
Is there hope for a 40-year-old to lift weights and get big? How is it decent?
I'm 42 years old, and I'm going to compete in a pro show against people half my age. Well, then get off your fucking ass and lift, man. I mean, yeah. Yeah, just go. I mean, I like when people go like, how do I get back in? And I'm like, your car, and go to the gym and do something. Hire a trainer, just get at it. 2 minutes. Any last question? Yes. I will consider running for local office. I got to sell some businesses. Yeah. And then I need to wait the 3 years for the non-compete to end. And so I'm about probably 5 to 6 years away. I don't know if my messaging's polarizing. I'm not very good at, as you can tell, I said fat like 15 times. I'm just very blunt and direct. That it worked for Trump, I guess. I mean, he did call Rosie O'Donnell a pig. I'm not calling anybody names. I'm just using words. But like, yeah, I want to run, but right now with coaching and everything, all I could do is just help the party. Yeah. Okay, she's going to hold up another sign. Thank you, guys.